What is up, YouTube? This is Abergon, your chap with the cat, back again for another video. Now, this week we're going to be doing a different sort of a prediction video than the ones that I usually do. This time, I'm going to be trying to predict what the next booster pack is going to be. Now, as you can see, the two I have currently on screen are High-Speed Riders and Wing Raiders, only one of which currently exists in the TCG, that being High-Speed Riders. Now, given how Arc 5 is going, where it seems to be making booster packs based off of the different dimensions, High-Speed Riders being based off of Synchro and Wing Raiders being based off the Xyz dimensions, I think it's fairly safe to assume we're eventually going to get a booster pack based on characters from the Fusion dimension. So that just raises the question of which one. Well, I've managed to narrow it down to these 5 characters I'm going to show you now. Them being Sora, I forget this character's name, I think it's Julia Crystal, I don't know, she's fairly irrelevant, but still a Fusion user. Next up we have Yuzu, or Zuzu, depending on whether you're watching sub or dub. And then we have Selena, and finally Yuri, in order of their introduction to the series as Fusion users. There's a little bit of backstory on that. Sora is the first one that we meet when he duels against Yuya very early on in the series. Afterwards, when the Leo Corporation decides to attack the school where Yuya learns dueling, we encounter Julia Crystal, who is the second Fusion user introduced. She uses Gem Knights. That encourages Yuzu, who till recently had not been a Fusion user, to learn Fusion from Sora. Now afterwards, we meet Yuzu's dimensional counterpart, Selena, who uses the Moonlight Dancers, or as they will be known, Luna Lights in the TCG. And that just leaves the final character to be introduced being Yuri, who is Yuya's dimensional counterpart. Now, getting back to the idea of the booster packs, there's 3 basic trends that we've noticed in the decks they've introduced. There's always been one mystery deck, which has just been some brand new thing they introduced that we've never seen before, no idea what it could possibly be. So obviously that's not the one I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the other 2, which are decks used by characters in the show. One always being a deck that we have never seen in the real life game, and another one being an expansion on a deck that we have already seen in the game. So, and they're all based on, again, those 2 are always based on characters that are in the show. So, if we take our 5 Fusion users, I'm sure we can figure out which one will be which, unless they magically introduce a new Fusion user, which they have not done at this point based on when the show is. So, if we actually look at the booster packs, we can see a few key things. First of all is the deck that is always introduced brand new has actually always been used by Yuya's dimensional counterparts. In High-Speed Riders, we had Yugo, who was, sorry, I'm completely blanking, who had the Speedroids, and then finally we have, coming up next is Yuto, who used the Phantom Knights, neither of which had premiered prior to these packs, so I think it's pretty safe to say that the first one is actually going to go to Yuri and his deck, the Predator Plants, which admittedly we haven't seen a whole lot of. We saw a little bit of them in episode 91. I'm not going to go too far into that, but yeah, that seems to be what we have for them. We're obviously not going to be getting his Dimensional Dragon introduced in that, as that's always introduced in one of the main series packs. But I think we can safely assume he's going to be the brand new one. So that just leaves the remaining 4 to decide who's going to be the deck that gets boosted. Well, again, I'm going to take hints from the previous packs. So for High-Speed Riders, we got some new support for Red Dragon Archfiend with Jax cards. Then we got in Wing Raiders, Kurosaki got some support, or Shea Obsidian, I believe is his English name. I personally prefer Kurosaki, but who am I to judge? And we got support for his Raid Raptors, both of which had been previously existing decks that got new support. However, if we take a look at that a little bit further, we can also see that these are both characters who existed in the Fusion dimension, in their respective dimensions. they're not just characters that happen to use Synchro and Xyz summoning respectively. They were born and raised in their own dimension. So, for that reason, I'm pretty sure we can exclude any non-fusion dimension residents from the upcoming fusion pack, whatever that will be. And so we can easily knock out Julia Crystal and Yuzu. Plus, on top of that, just logically speaking, I really can't see them supporting Gem Knights or Melodius at this point. I feel like Melodius will just get whatever it does in the main series packs as she uses new stuff. And we have not seen so much as a sniff of Julia Crystal since her not even really like cameo defeat, just like her. Oh wait, no, my bad. She lost to. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop right there. I don't want to do any spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. But basically, since the Junior Youth Championship, we have not seen her at all. So pretty safe to assume that neither one of them is going to be getting it. So that just leaves us with Sora and Selena. So the question is, who are they going to be supporting? Both are entirely plausible since they do exist in the current TC. Well, not both of them, but let me back up a bit. Sora uses the Fluffle/Frightfur archetype, which we have had for quite some time, and it's just slowly been getting support throughout the series. Then Selena, like I said earlier, uses the Moonlight or Lunalight cards, which, while they have not yet debuted, are set to debut in Shining Victories, which the OCG already has. So while they don't exist for us, they do exist in the card games, so they are applicable. And just going off this, I'm honestly going to have to boot out Sora. I really feel like Selena's going to be the other one. And my reasoning for that is the same with why I don't think it could be Yuzu, aside from the fact that she's not a resident of the Fusion Dimension. And that's simply because she's not, he has been getting support throughout this main series packs. We've seen a lot of his stuff, and there's not really that much that can be introduced. Unless prior to, they introduce another big card for the Fluffles or the Frightfurs, I just don't see it happening. While Selena's cards are newly introduced, we only have a small handful of them, albeit these are all the ones that we have seen introduced in anime thus far. I can easily see them using that. But I don't know. That's just my personal take on it. I could be wrong. Maybe we will be seeing more Fluffle and Frightfur stuff depending on what the anime has to show us. Ultimately, that's where it all comes down to, is we need to know what the anime is going to offer us in terms of their new cards. But anyway, that is what I am predicting. Aside from our random mystery deck, I am fairly certain that whenever the Fusion Booster Pack is announced, it will be featuring both Yuri and Selena's cards as the secondary decks to be introduced. But that is all I have got for you guys for this week. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are my predictions correct? Or do you think there's another Fusion user who is more likely to be debuted in this pack? And just for fun, what do you guys think is going to be the potential third deck they introduce? There's a lot of interesting ideas they can do with Fusion, so what do you think they're going to be? Be sure to let me know that down in the comments below. Of course, you can also go on Facebook and like my page there, so you can let me know your opinions there as well. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for further content. Until next time, peace.